Welcome to another Figuring Out Japan video. We sell all the coolest Japanese collectibles and figurines straight out of Japan, and you can find out more details about us in the description of this video, including our eBay store and our Facebook page. So today we're going to be looking at the Porunga SCultures Series 4 figure. So this came out last year. And there has actually been a Porunga released, I think it was back in 2011, in the Creatures series, and that figure was actually pretty cool as well. But probably the best Porunga figure that's ever been released was part of the Toy Fest exclusive releases. And any hardcore Dragon Ball collector will know that any of those Toy Fest figurines are extremely rare and therefore extremely valuable. So some of the others was King Cold with Frieza. There was what else was there? Zaru, Monkey. Yeah, a couple of others, but this figure is also very, very cool. Probably my favorite anyway, that's sort of been widespread commercially released. So without further ado, let's get into the figure. So this is the box, and it's a really big box actually. It's 240 millimeters, so 24 centimeters. So it's about as high as an MSP figure. So it's a pretty big box. It's a non-standard size box as well. One thing you might actually notice here is that they have an owl. It's called Polunga, and the reason for that is that Japanese don't really have an R or an owl. Their sound is kind of in between the two, so it's often romanized in English letters as an R, but Japanese really struggle with whether things are pronounced with an R or an owl, and so that's why that's like that. But I think normally in English we would say Porunga. But anyway, so it's not a big deal. Don't lose sleep over that one. That's just one of those quirky Japanese things. So I'll show you the side of the box. So it follows the same kind of design as all the other SCultures 4 figures. I think I've reviewed quite a few of them now. The Bulma and the trunks, that sort of thing. So there's some information about the sculptor. I can't seem to get that into focus. There we go. And there we have Porunga again. I really love that picture. It looks like he's just cackling away. So yeah, and then obviously gold toy animation sticker and that on the top. But let's get rid of the box and get into the figure. So this is the bad boy. He's about 210 millimeters tall, so he's pretty big. And he actually doesn't assemble in any parts. So Porunga is actually one complete piece, and the base though is a separate piece, as is the stand. So what you see there is 3 pieces, but Porunga himself is only one piece. So no assembly required. And you can see it's a pretty cool figure. I mean, it's got all the detailing that you'd want. I really like all of the little sort of, I don't know, I guess the texture of the skin, you could call it, all the little like goosebump things on there. You've got the sort of fish tail, I guess you could call it. And that actually is a rubber, so it actually does bend a bit. And I really like how the sort of tail sort of twists and turns. It looks really good. And then obviously Porunga himself. And again, just some really nice detailing and texture on those spikes. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try and get into focus. Yeah, there you go. So you can see all the little marks and things on there as well. So lots of detail. Even the knuckles. You can see there, like the detail in the hands. The knuckles just look really, really thick. And his face. His eyes actually use like a shiny red as well, so they're a little bit shiny, as if he's performing a wish. And his teeth. It's pretty realistic. It's not too much you can really complain about with the sculpt job or the paint. and all on a nice big base. Also notice the base actually is a bit darker than some of the other figures. So I actually have Trunks, which was actually released in the same series, so you'll actually notice there's quite a difference in color. It's still like a semi-transparent with the SCultures written, sorry, the Tenkaichi Budokai written on it. But yeah, you can see there's quite a difference in color. I actually like the darker one better. I actually like things looking more like a black than a brown. So that's actually pretty cool that they, oops, hit the camera, that they did that. And you can see even with the reflection, you know, it's really nice and shiny. And it looks great. It looks really great as, you know, with any sort of Namek display. Like I just added those figures there in the background. The Vegetas in Ichiban Kuji, as is the Frieza. We sell both of those figures as well. So I love both of those figures. So yeah, this figure looks really great with any of the, you know, just to sort of complete that Namek display. So I really love this figure. It's really good. The only thing that I would point out that I think maybe could have been done a little bit better or differently is that the copyright is actually printed in a fairly visible place. So I really think they should have put it maybe like further down, or maybe like at the back here, or just somewhere not so visible. But it's, I mean, you can't, because it's the same color, like you probably wouldn't have realized unless I pointed that out anyway. So it's really not that bad. But especially if you sort of display it, like you can't sort of see it there because you're right in front on. But yeah, I think they could have made it. It's barely visible, but once you know it's there, I don't know, it might annoy you. The other thing is the joins in the figure are quite prevalent. It was the same with the Shenron World Collectible figure. You could quite clear. I mean, all figures they have these joins. But for some reason with the dragons, it just seems a little bit more visible. So you can see in the manufacturing process where the different parts join together. And in particular, it's here at the chest. It's not so visible unless you really kind of are looking up at the figure. But you can, it is quite visible. So that's not a fault. It's not, if you buy this, don't say it's faulty. That's just how it comes. That's just how Banpresto manufacture it. It would have been better, I think, if they made it a bit higher under the breastplate. It just would have been a little less, you know, visible. But anyway, it's not. I don't know. Sometimes those things annoy people. I don't really mind. I mean, that's just how things are manufactured. But overall, terrific figure. I really like this figure. I really like the size. That they actually went to the effort of making this one pretty big. Maybe it would have been nice to have some sort of like yellow thing here just to sort of symbolize that's where he's kind of coming out of, but they don't really do that with the SCultures line. They just keep it to the same kind of black or you know, transparent base. So I think it's a really great figure. I think it's going to look really good with any of the other you know, Frieza Saga displays that you have, especially if you've got the Goku from the SCultures 5 that was released. So yeah, definitely a good figure to add to your collection. So that was the SCultures Series 4 Porunga, released by Banpresto in 2014. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video.